Beep, beep. My hat!
Hello and welcome back. By now you've probably watched the other two videos. One of them's a very long video where we set everything up, right? We put the monster truck tires on here. These are the 2.8s in the rear for our monster truck, monster drag truck. That's what it is. So again, we're going to finish this up, and then after that I'm going to talk about what you need in order to race. So the only thing that we need is the wheelie bar. The second video of this series, I took a wheelie bar from, well, the wheelie bar that was meant for the Slash didn't fit, as you saw in the long video, because of the transmission. Even though I tried modifying it, it just doesn't bolt on very well. So I actually took the one from for a E-Rebo, and I drilled these two holes here, which are for these two right here, these holes back there, right, that one and that one. And then I had to remove this material here, so as you can see, that's what I had to remove. So this was uniform, it looked the same on both sides, so I took that angle grinder and just smoothed that out. Just removed the material, so now I can fit it in. So this is it, this is the last process. Now, transmission was already on there. All I had to do was just loosen it up, and I have to line up the holes, and the holes are lined up, so that's it. So now I can just install these screws here, and we're almost finished with this build. Don't tell my wife I'm not wearing my ring. I was working with oil. It's a silicone ring. I don't want any oil on it. Why do I wear a silicone ring? Well, you know, if an accident happens, it'll be the ring that breaks and not my finger. That's the reason why. Other than that, I have no other reason. I have my regular wedding ring, but I don't want to get electrified when I'm working with certain stuff either. So here we go. Alright, so these two screws are on. So the wheelie bar is on. And right here, I'm just looking at it, making sure it's straight. I'm actually looking at an angle this way, straight ahead. So from your camera perspective, it may not look straight. There we go. If I do that, it'll look straight. And then you can also flip it around, right, however you want. Actually, that was already straight. But this is something you can later tune once you start running this. I'm just going to get these close, and then I'll start tightening once I get to the last one. And that is it. That's the last one. And again, this truck, I'm putting it together for my buddy, so you can follow him at Rod's Reels RCs on Instagram. So go ahead and follow him. He has some pretty good stuff, especially a lot of crawler stuff. And there's also some videos where both of us go crawling, so check those out. Here we go. So GTR shocks I'd assembled for him. He went ahead and installed this. I'd already milled out for him. Actually installed a lot of parts for him. He installed the Pro line originally, and then I had to tweak him a little. But he does very good job, good modifications. But this is it. So here's the monster truck. This is what you need to build it. You need a short course chassis. So here we have a Slash chassis. I would recommend a Slash chassis because, well, a lot of people have Slashes. They're inexpensive, and they're easy to just modify and turn into a variety of things. I mean, here's the monster truck drag racer that we're working on. This would be a regular drag car. Again, a Slash chassis. It's just easy to work with. Now, you need the 2.8 rear tires. You need the short course front tires, right? That's how you get larger tires, smaller tires. So you want the difference in diameter as well as the width. The other thing that you're going to need is, I do recommend you get an HR transmission, so hot racing transmission, or a Proline transmission, something with aluminum here just for cooling. But it also allows you to put a 40 millimeter diameter motor on here. In reality, you can run whatever motor you want for this, but something that I am going to recommend, strongly recommend, is get the eRevo wheelie bar. And the reason why is it's sheet metal, but not because it's sheet metal necessarily, but you can easily modify it, wedge it between the chassis and the transmission. But it also works as a spring, so it flexes. So the likelihood of you breaking it is lower than if you were to use, for example, the Proline wheelie bar on that drag car that I just showed. The other thing too is these wheels here are rubber, so they'll be able to roll on asphalt, concrete a lot more than the plastic ones. Plastic ones will eventually chip, break. But this is another hot racing product. Again, if you find a different brand, you can, but I happen to be using Hot Racing. Well, my buddy bought these here. So that's really basically it. Take your Slash short course, monster truck tires in the rear, wheelie bar, different transmission case, and get yourself whatever system you want. Now, really quick, some of you might be thinking, well, that's overpowered. Okay, that's fine. It's up to you. You want to go with a smaller motor? Go with a smaller motor. There are different ways to run this. And I'm going to go through some of those ways to run this and how it would be fair regardless of what motor you have. So you can run 2S, you can run 6S. This one's going to be running 6S. Why? Because my buddy Rod loves running 6S. He loves overpowering stuff. Which is cool and fun. I think it's too much power, but he loves it. And you know what? It's his truck. But here's the thing. It's all about control. It's really about the driver. If, say he's running 6S, I'm running 4S, and you're running 3S, and we do a round robin, and you have far better control, you're consistent, you're probably going to end up beating us. Why? Because if we're not consistent, we're not that good at controlling our vehicle, right? Too much power, not enough control. We are probably going to, cross the line, go to the other lane, hit the wall. Either way, we get disqualified. So even though your vehicle is potentially not as fast, you are a better driver. And many times that's what wins races. So keep that in mind when you're selecting your power system. You may want to go with only 4S. You may want to go with 2S. It's up to you. It's something you want to decide. Now let's just say you're both very good drivers. Alright, that is cool. You're both very good drivers. Check this out. This is awesome. I like the rig of it. This looks really cool. That's what it looks like. Alright, so these are the ways to race. So, let's just say both of you have cars. You have your RC cars. That's cool. Let's pretend these are it, and we're looking at these. Well, let's say this one on top is faster. We know it's faster, you're both consistent. Well, this is what you can do. You can have a race that will be determined by a set distance, 135 feet. Whoever crosses the line first wins. All right, that's fine. But let's just say you're both very consistent, so the faster vehicle is always going to win. All right, fair enough. Well, you can do the following. If you have a timing system, right? Traxxas has timing systems. What you can do is you can take the difference, so do a few test runs and take the difference. So let's just say, for example, that you tend to run, now I'm going to make up numbers. Let's just say you run 135 feet in 10 seconds. All right, so this is you. You run it in 10 seconds. And your buddy runs it in 9 seconds. All right? The difference is 1 second. So, because the difference is 1 second, this is what you're going to be working with. You generally run 10 seconds. Your buddy generally runs 9 seconds. The difference is 1 second. So what you're racing is for this 1 second. Now you need a timing system for this. Let's just say you run your lap and you run 10 seconds. Perfect. Let's just say your buddy runs 9.2 seconds. The difference is 0.8 seconds, right? 0.8 seconds, which means that this is what you qualified, right? But this is what you actually ran. So because the difference is smaller than a second, you would win, even though you have a slower vehicle, because you were more consistent. You are closer to your time. So the difference is less between your time, right? Again, another way to look at this is, we're looking at these times. Let's just say you run 10.2 seconds. Your buddy over here runs 9.4 seconds. Well, take that time, which is your fastest time. You are 0.2 seconds away from your time. Your buddy is 0.4 seconds away from your time. You are closer to your time, therefore you are more consistent, therefore you win. So this is another way to drag race. And many of you already know how to do this. This is really for those of you that are watching that are new. You're new to the sport, you're planning doing drag racing. Don't get discouraged if you have a slower vehicle. Let's just say you were running a slash with the stock brush system or brushless system, for that matter. Don't be discouraged to run against somebody that's running a 15-15 like this truck here. Just do this. This is if you have a timing system. Now, let's say you don't have a timing system. All right, that's cool. Doesn't matter. Do distance. Let's just say your buddy generally runs 9 seconds and you generally run 10 seconds. This is 135 feet. All right, so your buddy is 10% less than you. So your buddy's time is 10% less than you. So just do an average. You are about 11% of your friend's time. Right? So if you do 10 divided by 9, it's about 11%. So take that 135, just take 11%. So multiply it by 0.11. And that's the distance that you are going to be running. That's one way that you can do it. It's not perfect, but it's one way that you can set up the course to where it presents a challenge for the faster driver, and it gives you an opportunity to stay competitive. So this here, that means that you would be subtracting somewhere between 4 and 15 feet that you would be subtracting. So you would have to decide, the easiest thing would be to take this and multiply it by 0.89. That would have been the easiest way to go, to be honest, instead of subtracting. So you're going to be running about 120 feet. So that means that you're going to set up a vehicle. Say this is your buddy's car. Set your buddy's car there. This is the finish line, right here. And then your vehicle would be set up right over here, where the distance from here to here would be approximately 120. And I totally messed this up. Well, anyway, here we go, 135. Just do that, right? And then your buddy has the faster vehicle, so your buddy's going to have to catch up and then pass you to beat you. So that's another way to set up a drag race. If you have a timing system, just do this other method. If you don't have a timing system, do this. If both of you have a can that's 40 millimeters in diameter, then forget all of this and just run them straight. But if one of you is consistently faster, maybe you want to change it up and do something like this just to make it fun for both of you and bring forth another challenge. So again, for the monster drag truck, all you need is a short course chassis, a truck body, such as this one, and you need 2.8 tires in the rear and a wheelie bar. That's really it. If you want to go and build it up, do other things, then you can definitely get HR transmission case or Proline, something like this with aluminum. This has GTR shocks all around. These are the Traxxas GTRs with GTR springs. If you have a Slash, it has to be a low CG chassis. You cannot run a high CG. I mean, you could. The problem with high CG is going to wheelie all the time. If you've owned a Slash with a brushless system, the Lineon, the VXL model, that thing will wheelie if it gets traction on 2S. So something like this, right? This is the high CG. This will wheelie day and night because the weight is so high up. So you definitely want low center gravity chassis. So LCG chassis just like this. They're not that expensive. The chassis are about 35 bucks as of this video. So that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you followed the build and you like the build. Again, it's any truck body that fits. My buddy just happens to love this F100, which I will tell you is a beautiful body. It's been bashed a little, but it's still a beautiful body. But that is it. So that being said, until next time, be good.